today's day and age, everybody is in a race and rush. Everyone craves to get peace of mind, and this is what we experience when we even hear the name of Gautam Buddha, the ninth avatar of Lord Vishnu. Just last week we celebrated Buddha Purnima, the Vaishakhi Purnima, on which it is said that Lord Buddha was born, and also the day when he got Nirvana and later Mahaparinirvana. So let us hear his story today. In the kingdom of Kapilavastu, there ruled King Shuddhodana and Queen Maya Devi. Once, Maya Devi got a dream. She saw that a white tusked elephant was going around her thrice like a pradakshina, and then it entered her body. She woke up and wondered what it meant, when her husband told her that it probably meant that something great would happen soon. And yes, in time she was due to give birth to a baby. She decided to go to her maternal palace. It was the year 563 BC. As she neared her maternal house in the gardens of Lumbini, which is near Nepal, she experienced the pangs of birth, and there a baby boy was born. Very happily, with joy and celebrations, this baby was welcomed. And when she returned to the palace, astrologers were called to read the horoscope of the baby. Now these wise men told the king that this child was destined for greatness. He would either become the king of kings, a great emperor, an able heir to the king, or he would become a great master, the sage of all sages. Now, King Shuddhodana definitely did not want that his son should become a monk, and so he decided that he would keep his son protected from all the harsh realities of life, and instructions were given to all that this child would never be exposed to pain, sorrow, grief or unhappiness. Just 7 days after the baby was born, the queen died, and the king felt a pang. He realized that the touch of sorrow had already entered his son's life. The queen's sister, however, by the name of Prajapati Gautami, immediately volunteered to look after the baby, and she became his foster mother. The prince was given the name Siddharth. Siddharth means the one who fulfills and reaches his goal. The prince grew up in great comfort. He was always pampered. There were 3 different palaces for all the different seasons. Even as a child, however, Siddharth showed the compassionate side that we associate Bhagwan Buddha with. Once, as he and his cousins Devadatta and Anand were playing, Siddharth noticed that Devadatta had taken out a bow and arrow and brought down a swan. He had never seen blood or grief before, but he could make out that this was something that drew his emotions out, and he picked out the arrow and then put some herbs and leaves on the wound. He asked his friend Channa what that red thing was. Channa explained that it was blood, and what the bird was experiencing was pain. Now, Devdutt felt that the bird belonged to him because he had brought it down, while Siddharth refused to part with the bird, for he felt that the bird still needed love and care. Now, both boys went to the court, and there Siddharth innocently asked, "Please tell us, whom should the bird belong to? To one who has given it pain, or to one who is trying to give it comfort?" And of course, the issue was resolved in Siddharth's favor. As Siddharth grew up, at the age of 16, he was married to Yashodhara, and soon they got a son by the name of Rahul. Once, Siddharth decided to go out of the palace. The king did not come to know, and so along with Channa, his charioteer, Siddharth set out. He just wanted a change from the palace. But the first thing that met his sight was the vision of an old man. He saw the wrinkles, he saw the grey hair, he saw the bent spine and was confused. He asked Channa, "What is this? Who is this?" And Channa said, "Master, this is an old man." Now Siddhartha asked him, "Does everyone become old?" And Channa said, "Yes." This set Siddhartha thinking. After some time, they saw a sick man. Now, this sick person was moaning and groaning in pain. Siddhartha could not understand what were those sounds coming out from this person's mouth. When Channa explained that this is illness or sickness, this disease always gives a lot of pain. So Siddhartha asked, "Can I also fall sick? Can Yashodhara and Rahul also fall sick one day?" "Yes," said Channa. Again Siddhartha was lost in thought. As they went ahead, they saw a dead body being carried by people, accompanied by so many who were crying and wailing and beating their chest. When they approached the cremation ground, Siddhartha and Channa, who were following them, saw that the body was getting burnt on the pyre. Siddhartha asked, "Why is that man still? Why is he not sitting up? Why is he not crying when he is being burnt?" And Channa explained that he is dead, my lord. After death, the body does not experience pain. So Siddhartha asked him, "Does everybody have to die one day?" Channa said, "Yes." This really disturbed Siddhartha, and as they were coming back, they saw a sannyasi wearing simple robes, holding a begging bowl. This monk had an air of contentment and peace on him. So Siddhartha asked Channa, "Who is this? Why do I feel so calm when I look at him?" Channa said, "He is a monk or a sannyasi. He has given up everything and decided to seek the truth. This is how he looks so calm." Siddhartha came back to the palace a changed person. He wanted to find out this truth for himself. All the comforts and pleasures, the music, the dance held no interest for him anymore. So, in the dark of the night, he bid goodbye to the sleeping Yashodhara, to the sleeping son Rahul, and went out of the palace. He told Channa to take him to the river banks, and there he removed all the royal clothes and dressed in a simple robe. He cut off his hair and then told Channa to go back to the palace, for he would search and seek till he understood the truth, that secret of happiness and contentment. Channa was very sad, but what could he do? His master had given him orders. He knew that the king would be desolate, but he could also see the determination which was now in Siddhartha. Siddhartha was also known as Gautama, for he belonged to the Gotama Gotra. He set off now. He walked across, searching teachers, learning new philosophies, and trying to understand what was it that was the eternal truth, that which could release one from all suffering. However, he was never satisfied, and so he kept moving on. Along the path, he once reached Magadha, where a huge animal sacrifice was about to be carried out. The king was Bimbisara. Gautama tried to make him understand. He said that, "Please consider, O king, that even the animals have emotions and feelings like us humans, and no god would be so cruel as to want a person to shed the blood of innocent beings." King Bimbisara saw the truth of this statement and was so impressed by this young monk Gautama that he asked him to stay on there and become their teacher. Gautama, however, said, "No, I myself haven't found out the truth. When I do, I shall be back. It is my promise." He moved on. Along the path, he got many disciples and followers who accompanied him in this great search. As a part of this tapascharya, Gautama decided to undertake rigorous fast. He also came down to eating one single rice grain per day. His body became so weak and emaciated that he could not even stand or sit up straight. He was about to faint when a kind lady offered him porridge. At that moment, Gautama realized that self-torture was not the way to attain salvation, because when one is hungry, one is constantly thinking of food. And how can the mind that is occupied with food think of the higher? And so he broke his fast. He decided that from now on he would follow the path of moderation, or the middle path. Some of his disciples got disappointed in him. They thought that he had forsaken the path, and so they left him. But Gautama was not disturbed by this, for he was convinced and he went on. Finally, at the age of 35, once seated under the Bodhisattva tree, he lost himself in meditation. At that time, he gained enlightenment. After a week spent in meditation, Gautama attained nirvana, or enlightenment. Because he was seated under the Bodhisattva tree, he got the name of Buddha, the enlightened one. For 4 weeks, he continued sitting there. He lost himself in mauna, or silence. After which, he decided to get up and, out of compassion, to go travel far and wide and share his teachings. Wherever he went, people saw the aura around him and realized that he had got the highest knowledge. They all became his disciples. They grouped themselves together and called it the Sangha. Buddha spread all the knowledge in the local language of Pali, and that is how many common people also came and joined his Sangha. His entire family, his father, his foster mother, his wife, his son, all joined the Sangha, and they became bhikshus with the begging bowl. We know that the great emperor Ashoka too followed the tenets of Buddhism. Bhagavan Buddha gave out the 4 eternal truths to his disciples. He told them what was suffering, what was the cause of suffering, what was the release of suffering, and how to attain it. He also told them to follow the eightfold path, the right way to use the body, the senses, and the mind for perfect and appropriate living. Along his travels, he always spread knowledge with compassion. We know the story of Kisha or Krisha Gautami, a lady who had lost her baby. She came to him because she thought that a master could revive her baby. While Buddha told her to bring a handful of mustard seeds from any house where death had not entered. With great hope, Kisha Gautami went from house to house with the dead baby in her arms, asking for just a handful of mustard seeds. But then she realized that no house had been spared. At some time or the other, everyone who was born had to die. And so, finally, understanding the truth, she came back and sought refuge at Bhagavan Buddha's feet. This is how he transformed the lives of millions of people, even to this day. For as we know, even today, Buddhism has so many followers all over the world. Finally, after many years of preaching, at the age of 80, in the year 463 BC, Bhagavan Buddha left his body. It was again the day of Vaishakhi Purnima, and seated under a peepal tree, Bhagavan Buddha gave the final teachings. His followers would always be grateful to this great master who spread love, compassion, and the vision of oneness amongst all his disciples and followers. Let us also pray that we are also able to live our lives with these values of nobility and compassion that Bhagavan Buddha lived and practiced. This would surely make the world a better place. I will be back with another story next week. Until we meet again, Hari Om.